Everybody, good morning, good morning. CPI came in light. How did I know? How did I know? I thought we were going to do this. I was like, you know, eh. Welcome everybody. Look forward to seeing many of you later this evening. Looks like we got Rex and Donald and Will, Logan, Sergio, Be Like Water, David, Mark, Svenborn, Ted. Good to see everybody. Good to see everybody. And we've got the in-person VIP event tomorrow and Friday. So I'll be live in front of a studio. Well, not really a studio, but a conference room audience tomorrow and Friday while we do the show. So that'll be a little bit different. But we'll make do. It's been last one we did was back in June. So I'll try to make the show. I'll try to do good for everybody, and we'll see what happens. As always, glad to see all the other subscribers like Bradman, A-Key, Douglas, Marianne, Valerie, Maurizio, Rosalind, Rongamer. Good to see you as always. Francois, and Craig and Larry. Good to see everybody. If you want to chat with me while you're on the stream, click the button over here. Be a subscriber on the channel. You can chat. If you wanted to get access to other premium content, be a channel member, support me and the effort I do here on YouTube, which is not part of all the other stuff. I mean, it's kind of, but it's not really. It's kind of separate. I do it my own time, my own effort, my own energy. So, Mobile Goose. Yeah, I thought it was Mother Goose, right? Goose, we look forward to seeing you this evening. And glad to have everybody, as always. Look at this baby right here. Look at these numbers. We're getting a bounce. Can we stick it? Can we stick the landing? That'd be a good one, right? So I guess we should do this. All trading involves a substantial risk of loss. Past performance not necessarily indicative of future results. This presentation intended to be informational, educational, fun, and entertaining. Hopefully you're entertained. Hopefully that's why you like hanging out with me, right? You find it mildly entertaining. Anyway, not a recommendation to be buying or selling any financial instruments, including stocks, options, bonds, forex, futures, cryptos, treasuries. Don't long them, don't short them, don't trade them. You might lose money if you do that and you don't have a plan. All right. Not, I may never get another thing right in the market. That's going to suck because that's what I do. I love doing this. Love hanging out with y'all. Thank you for coming, everybody. Thank you for spending your morning with me. Thank you. I mean, I don't know. I couldn't do it without you, right? Morning monster. All right. If you desire personal financial advice, you got to hire and consult somebody that knows how to do that for you, give you financial advice. That's not me. I mean, I can point out some banging trades, but they don't always work. That's doesn't, I took a bath on one a couple days ago. I thought we were going to make a bottom, not yesterday, but the day before. I ate that one. But then yesterday I caught a couple, made that money back, but I didn't publish them out because I was like, not so sure. Anyway, I was not highly confident on the reversal yesterday. I did not trade any big banging trades overnight last night. Today we get CPI coming over there. It's like the lowest level in 4 years. What the heck happened? I don't even know. But, year over year, it's just kind of right there. It's not like, I don't know. The news was all like, oh, the lowest level in 4 years. But when we look at it, it's not really. I don't know. Seems like bullshit to me. But, hey, if it makes the market go up, let's go. We get PPI tomorrow, which I don't really expect the market to react too much. It's probably going to be just normal PPI numbers. Probably, just standard stuff. Probably come in a little light with the fuel costs down. I guess the two major things they were saying was airline costs and fuel costs. Oil costs were down. Of course, oil goes into everything, right? Oil's the feedstock for plastic. Transportation, just about everything else we do. There's pretty much, oil and gas. There's pretty much nothing we do not touched by oil and gas some way, somehow. If you have any type of plastic around you at all, any type of synthetic fabric touching you, laminate on your desk, mouse, keyboard, computer screen, TV, all oil, there's like nothing we do in our life not touched by some sort of oil production. Kind of crazy when you think about it that way. It's like, yeah, we go green, but how do we replace all the plastic? You're not going to. It's kind of the wild thing of all this, right? Anyway, so PPI probably going to come in light too if in fact the oil costs are reducing costs for producers. That's producer price index. Producer prices tend to lead, 6 to 12 weeks. We see the inflation showing up here, reflected in CPI about 6 to 12 weeks later. And it's funny, funny I say that because we only get this reading once a month, but that's kind of the way it works. Friday, we get the University of Michigan consumer sentiment and inflation expectations. This should be in line with the numbers we saw today. Should be. We'll see if they we'll see if they actually hold in there. When we got the big spike back here, it kind of freaked the market out. We'll see if this ramps back down at all, or if we're going to keep this cooking here. So that's one to keep an eye on Friday. After the market opens, I'll be I might be live. I don't know. It'll be an interesting show because I won't have all my studio. I won't have one of the same resources to be able to pay attention to everything. So doing a live show in front of people in a different location is a different situation. Let's put it that way. So I'll do my best. To bring you the same awesome content. That's kind of what we have the rest of the week. On Monday, we've got that retail sales coming up. That's an oddball. Why did they push it out to Monday? So even if we rally here, is this going to be a shocker negative number and create a pullback? It'd be normal, right? We get a big reversal, we get a pullback, and then we get continuation on FOMC possibly. Maybe. So this one will be interesting too. Like what Jerome Powell has to say. He's kind of waiting. Like he's already coming out this week and saying he's going to wait and see how all these new policies actually affect the economy. Okay, new policies take like 24 months to trickle through the economy. So that we're talking about, we're gonna turn around on a jet ski while we're driving a freight train. That's not really realistic for him to say that. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens. I expect to hold rates. That's what the market's expecting. We're not really expecting any kind of cuts till later in the year, July, September, something like that. So I guess we'll see what shakes out there. All right, that's the numbers for today. Any questions, you can let me know. But let's rock and roll. Rock and roll, baby. I like the fact that we're potentially turning the bottom here. Now, we got a big spike on the CPI number. Right there, big fat spike, and took it right back immediately. But we're doing something we haven't been able to do for a bunch of days. Break through the 15-minute. 30 minutes is what we spiked to, rejected it. So now we need to break through that. That's the one to watch right here. Want to know what to watch? ES1 exclamation point. That's the S&P 500 futures with the 30-minute roadmap line. If we can get through, let's go, as they say. Now, what am I concerned about? 1, 2, 3. That's what I'm concerned about. Is this done? Or is this just fantasy? And we go back lower. Entirely possible. We did not hit the 618 on the downside. So if you got something you're profitable on that you were banking on going long that you're not like married to in long term, when the market opens here in 5 minutes, consider whether you want to take that profit or not. This is the good and the bad, right? The good, we got a positive reaction. CPI came in low, goose in the markets. The bad, this was a first move up, an A retrace, a B, and a sloppy C, right up to where A equals C. Right there. That's the cautionary. That's the cautionary. Right there. We do have a gap that we left open right back here. I'll have to get through that. There's lots of upside. I mean, we got a lot of stuff we got to work through on the upside. A lot of stuff. If this is going to be more bullish, I would like to see this extend on up here. Back test. Hold. Continuation. Something more like that. Maybe do another retrace. Hold in that vicinity too. And then get the bigger up. Or just do a big freaking 200, 250 point rip. That'll work for me too. So stay frosty. Nothing's clear yet. Still a danger condition. Still a dangerous condition set up right there. Hate to be the bearer of bad news. It's not all roses and champagne kisses so far in the market. Still banging our head on that resistance zone. It was support, turned resistance now. Still can't get into it. So we'll see here in a minute. NQ did hit the 618. Is pushing higher. Is potentially going to get through here. Maybe. We'll see. This one could lead the market. Leave S&P behind. And S&P go catch up later. Now remember, S&P did hit a higher high this year, while NQ has not been to its high since December. So this one's been lagging since December. It's been the laggard. And ES has been the broader market has been the one at play. Can we turn the fortunes? We'll see. We shall see. And right here is what I mean. That was the high in December. This point right here where we made the higher high in S&P 500 was a lower high in NQ, which is NASDAQ 100. The biggest, bestest tech stocks, you know, usually the best stuff we have for the economy, not been participating. But we did do this 618 retrace of this whole big move from August to December. We came in and hit that. Now, look at the daily, we have the resistance right up here, around 20,500. If we can get through that, we've got the 618 retrace right there at 21,145, 21,145. Get through that, we can see some upside. Now, the fact that this is a 618 bounce means it's a measured bounce. Bigger upside potential sets us up for potentially up into this 25, 26,000 area over here. If we can get her going. There's the market open. It's a positive open so far. We gave some back. We were at 60 something points. Now we're only at 50 points. Russell hit the target. Boom. Boom, 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 boom. Here's the resistance. If NQ and if the NASDAQ and the S&P are going higher, the Russell will probably rally to this area right here, make a lower high, and set up the bigger down. ES, my target, right around 6,600. In Q, 26,000. It's kind of what I'm cooking with right now. When we hit those levels, if we hit those levels, watch out for the bigger correction to take hold. It's going to probably be a grind for a while. If we go up from here, hit those targets, potentially looking at a bottom in place. Now, oil still looks like it wants one more dip here. Now, here's the tell. Here's one of the tells. When we see a big flush out in the market, oil typically goes with it. This has been a grind down, but it hasn't really been flushing oil. Like when we're having a big economic meltdown, we usually flush oil pretty hard. Prime example, right there. Right? Another prime example. Moving fibs instead of moving the chart. Awesome. When we took COVID down into the abyss, went negative on oil. Anybody remember that? Actually ran out of storage. And even back here, oil prices weren't nearly as high, but even back here, we saw a big drawdown. And relative to the prices, that was a pretty big drawdown. Currently, what did I click on? There we go. Currently, this pullback in the market hasn't really affected oil much at all. So oil is kind of the tell that maybe this correction isn't the right time. Maybe it's not going to have bigger, longer legs. So we can see this breakout, come up here, and then set up a bigger downside. But that doesn't mean we're not going to dip here first before we go up here. So these are the things to watch out for. Oil, bigger picture in the coming months. We could see, as I said, increased volatility in the oil market in the coming weeks and months ahead. Bigger moves than we've seen for years. Yeah, this has been consolidating a relatively tight range right here. Right here, it's been consolidating this tight range since 22. So for 3 years, we've just been in this range between 65 and 95, $30 range. That's pretty tight compared to what we've been doing the several years before this. Pretty tight range. So watch out for expansion in the oil markets. I personally feel like we're going to get a little spike down, make a lower low, and then turn it higher. Gold still grinding. I was cautioning yesterday that we might be hitting our head on a 618 retrace. We might see this bigger drop here. If we start below that low right there from yesterday, that's a good indication we're going to come on down to about 2,800 on gold at the minimum. It's been a big range there. We dropped to 28.40, and then we came all the way back up in a couple days to 29.40, $100 range. That's some volatility in gold also. Look at a Bitcoin, still grinding on that daily roadmap line. I'd love to see this break on through and get going. Do have a little resistance there at the gap fill. That high, all these lower highs coming down through here. Breaking through that, provide some resistance, get through it, we can see some upside. Until we set it up, still cautious. We can still bounce down off of this. Still bounce down, still make lower levels. That's still a possibility. It's still potential out there. We did hit some ideal levels. I've talked about that the last couple of days. So I'm just kind of keeping an eye on it. Keeping an eye on it. Ethereum still not performing. This is not looking too great. We start breaking down below this last level of support down to about 1650, about 1650-ish. We start breaking down below that last kind of support zone. Really starting to look like we might drop out to the triple digits here. So you got about $300 of cushion here left. And then really setting this up to dip below 1,000. Triple digits. I'm not saying that 600 has to be hit. I'm not saying 300 has to be hit. Triple digits, 999 is a triple digit. Below 1,000 is what I'm talking about. Bigger downside risk. NKD, dip below my trend line. I'd like to see it recover that and take this back to the top, but I'm not sure. We're seeing money flow out of the Japanese markets and into that euro opportunity where Germany's borrowing 900 billion euros. So we may see this continue on down in a rotation fashion. Dollar actually showing a little green today for the first time in like a week and a day. I did expect some little bounce, but I think we're going to still see further decline as the dollar pairs, the Euro USD looks ripe to break on out and cruise on up to these higher levels up here, potentially all the way up to $1.30. We're ripe for that bounce right there. It's been consolidating for 2 years, and that euro may push higher. All the dollar pairs showing a little weakness here, so I wrote that one backwards. Cool. And now it's all froze. Awesome. Anytime I type a ticker wrong, freezes. Love it. Not much I can do now. There we go. Dun, 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 dun. There's the right one. See this one? Potentially going to bounce here. We'll see. Not sure. It looks like we can hold here and bounce. Push that one up. That's yen dropping, dollar getting stronger in yen terms. I typed that one backwards, didn't I? That's stupid. And this one may pop also. We're seeing this climb as Trump attacks the Canadian dollar. Interesting in the Forex. See, we're seeing things rotate out of other currency and into the euro to take advantage of that opportunity, spread opportunity. It's interesting. Big picture opportunity for that to bounce back up. Somewhere in there, $1.20 to $1.30 zone. How you play it? Well, you could play it with this, FXE. If you expect it to continue up, you can gain exposure. We did the measured bounce. Got the low, the high, got that move. Would push us up into the not quite 10 for 1 here. Probably pushes up into this zone somewhere around 115, possibly up to $1.20. 120. So not huge upside. It's only $20 upside. But that's a pretty big move on this one. Plenty of other stuff with much bigger opportunity out there. All right, I go pull the gainers, which is anything moving $2 more up in the pre-market. Put it on the gainers list. I go pull the decliners, which is anything moving $2 more down, and put it on the decliners list, which is way down here, not very many. Usually the better opportunities we find are down here in the decliners, and not all of them are still declining. They were declining pre-market, but some of them turning around a little bit. Not all the gainers are holding on to their gains from the pre-market. And there were a ton of gains. Like we've lately had giant lists of decliners. Today we had a giant list of poppers as we came into the market here. So FNGA, formerly known as FNGU, pushing down here. We've got resistance at the roadmap line, and this extends the target on up to 743 if we can break back above that 565 area right there. This is a 3x leverage on FANG index. Shows you what got beat down here. FANG stocks got beat down. Now, a lot of them came down into the roadmap line and support. When we go look at the, I call it Mama Nat. It's like Microsoft. We came up just shy of my target, but maybe close enough. We came within a couple bucks there. So Microsoft, Apple, Mama, MA. That definitely hit the roadmap line, came down to the prior low, made a slightly lower low, so that actually adjusts over to this low. We did not close below that low, so didn't activate this, but a lower low does complete that correction, sets up the target, 265 on the upside, right there. And then the other M in Mama is Meta, came down to the roadmap line. The other A in Mama is Amazon. Down to the roadmap line. Now this has potential if we hold below here that we come on down. So caution, this does not have to bounce, break back higher. If it did, right up here around 250 would be the target on the upside. If we can pull out of this correction here on Amazon. In for Mama Nat is NVIDIA. Well below the roadmap line. Down, we have layers of support below us for this one. Be very cautious. We are well below the roadmap line here. Watch out for further decline if we bounce off of it. The other A in Mama Nat is Alphabet, which is Google. Potential for this to drop on down. And this is not showing much strength at all. We got resistance here, and target up there at 212, 213 if we can get turning bullish. But right now, not looking super strong. This may come on down to lower levels around 150 right here. And then T is for Tesla. And we are in a support zone, staying above 210, can hold on to not the best potential, but this looks like a diagonal that could kick us off to the 500 area. Not sure if we can reach 600 at this point, but holding in this 210 area can kick us up to that 500 area on the next move for Tesla. Something like this, maybe out into later summer, fall. Right there, something like that. And then the OG of the FANG or NVIDIA really started getting popular. Netflix here came down pretty much close enough. And this sets up a extension somewhere around 1100. So that's Mama Nat for you. Many of those were on the gainers list. So that's the... As those fangs look like they may turn, this one may rip back to highs. All right, app. That sets up a potential bounce. Resistance up here at that. Funny enough, this looks like it's in the right spot because that 618 lines up with that right there. So back above 615 on the daily close, we could see this rally on up there to that target. What is the JT? 566 is the target. That's a big move. That was a huge move right there. Huge correction. Look at that. It went from 524 all the way down to 240 potential. That's done. Back up at 415 could take us back to 566. That's a huge move. You could buy now and have your stop here if you were wanting, but that would be a shares opportunity, not an options opportunity. If you're gambling with options, be careful. Better buy enough time. This could take a while to play out. Spot came up shy of the roadmap line. I really expected that to hit. So we've got resistance that we'll have to break through right up here at this zone, right around 589. If we can get through it, take that on up to 767. HubSpot down below the roadmap line. Not sure here. Not sure at all that is going to be a low. But we look at that. That dip does kind of match prior dips. So that may just be the characteristic of HubSpot, even though it doesn't look the best, roadmap line wise. This one tends to outperform to the downside on the corrections. That doesn't mean it won't outperform on the upside. So 759 is the conservative entry. Get the close above that. 913 to 950 would be the next expectation on an upside if we're going to move on higher again. ASML, still expecting a drop down to the low 600s. Resistance right up here at 759. That roadmap line right there coming down. We've been respecting it for months and months and months now. Ever since we dropped below it back here in July of last summer. Been respecting it, respecting it, respecting it, respecting it, respecting it. Be careful. We do have an uptrend to lows. If we break down below it, we can quickly get down to that low 600s and wrap up this correction. Not sure we're going to be able to finish it until we do that. ISRG took a giant dip back to that 1618. If we can hold right here, this can rip on higher. 664 potential, climbing the fib ladder. That's what I call that. We hit this 272 level and retraced all the way back to the 1618 level. Climbed it, moved back down a rung, then move up the next rung right there. That's called climbing the fib ladder right there. 664 will be the next target. I don't give it high confidence. We did touch the roadmap line though, so we'll see. It could do it. It could do it. That big pullback sets up the next level. 636, 654, which 664, right in the ballpark there. So we could see that climb back above 563 and set up that move right up in there. Lots of opportunity. And Meta, I already talked about now. Potential to hold this. Kind of retested the breakout here. Broke out, came back, retested. If we hold it, turn back above the 1040 area, we could be looking for 1250 on the upside. PTIR, caution is advised. PLTR did not quite flush all the way down to the roadmap line. We did get down and retest the breakout. This may continue grinding here a few more days until we actually can touch the roadmap line here. So be careful. This may actually grind in here for a little bit, maybe through the end of the month, maybe into April, where we can touch and then build a support base. Let's be careful on that. Be careful, be careful, be careful. All right. It was on PTIR. Tesla we hit. Netflix we hit. TLN. Maybe done on the downside. Break back about the 618 there. Kick off the 271 up there. GE Veranova. Maybe we bounced. Could be done. Thought we might go just a little bit deeper. But it can be done. That's also possible. Break back about. See this. The reason I had that is that 618 looks better if you pull it down just a little bit more, but it's just splitting eyeballs at this point. break back above that consolidation right there. Upside 473, possibly 500 up here on GE Veranova. CRWD. Nice potential for a measured bounce. Didn't quite reach the 618, which I would hope, but this does kick off a bigger upside potential all the way up in the zone around 640. Right up in here. For the next move. Right up in there. Lots of opportunity. This is why I've been really excited that we might get a big bounce in the market. Everything's kind of set up for a nice big opportunity here. Lots of stuff bounced off the roadmap line. Target rich environment. That's what we would call this. Got to make your picks. Which ones look the best to you? Where do you want to put your money? At risk, 616 would be the entry. 696 would be the target. CEG. Dipped a little lower than I wanted to see, but that doesn't negate it from working out. And that fib line doesn't look like it's in the right spot. It looks like it needs to dip on down to about. So be careful here. We may reject off of the 245 roadmap line and come back down to 175 on CEG. Think about that. If oil still needs that dip lower, we may take energy stocks down a little bit. Carvana got under the roadmap line right here. We pushed down to the limits from that low from back here in January. If this holds the roadmap line, turns down, we can see this come on down very violently. This could be a bubble, but it also could just be a correction and we go higher. So upside opportunity, break back up through 250. You're looking at 311, 326. I did book profit on my put yesterday. I was up a fair bit, booked it out. I was feeling the bounce. And we may bounce up here, 250, and then look for another opportunity to go down on Carvana. RH got whacked all the way back down to the multi-year lows. Not looking great. This may need a flush on down. That didn't even make a valiant attempt to go higher at all. Watch out for this to come all the way back down into the 120 area. Reddit. Nice potential bounce here. Nice little pop. Be cautious. If we hold that roadmap line, this can take us on down. I did expect us to retrace to that area. Potentially break on down, but we can bounce from here and go higher. It's possible. Got lots of stuff drawn on here. So if we break back, that just doesn't quite look like it's in the right spot, right? It looks like it wants to come down about, looks like it would be best if it was down here, right? Then the 618 lines up with that consolidation over here and this consolidation here. Right now here, that just doesn't look like it's in the right spot. Possibly, but just doesn't quite look like it. But that doesn't negate it from being correct. So 185, get above that. 250, 260 on the upside targets. SMCX, ugh. Pass. Bulls, that's a 3x leverage. Be careful on leverage. Doesn't always follow the patterns. With the flatness of this chart, I'm not feeling strongly that this is going to do anything necessarily. If the FANG innovators start ripping, we could see this rally up to 222 though. MSTR, not really performing today. Bitcoin's not really moving today. So we're just seeing this sit at the roadmap line. Under the roadmap line, still leaves the downside as potential. Be careful out there. 216, 180, possibly even down to 150. QQQ, potential to reverse, but we've got to get continuation back above the roadmap line and back above the 618. So in case you're having trouble putting NQ into QQQ, here's the levels right there, right here, potential come up here. And since it's a measured bounce, This is the bigger upside potential. Boom, boom, boom. Up here around 610. BUG. Hunt for a bottom on this one. Potential to reverse. Got to get back above the roadmap line and the 405 area to look for 438. Root. Potential to come on down. This is sitting at highs. Did not participate in this correction at all. And we may see this give some back up here. AVGO. Excuse me. Golly. AVGO. Potential to come up to the 220 area and find resistance. That's a nice little pop off the lows. I might consider booking my trade I had going on that one. I was looking for the 210 area, but I might give it up if that's really profitable. That was a monster. It's one of the shark trades I've been talking about on and off. Let's see if I can find it. It's from back several days ago. And let me see. I probably didn't mark it in any way to be able to find it. Yeah, I took it on the 10th. It's now the 12th, so 2 days back. See if I can find it. And golly, there's a lot that comes through. A lot of really big trades. Yeah, right there it is. So I pull this over right there. Somebody bought 160 strike. See, there were 54 contracts open. I say buy because there were 54 contracts. The volume and the size was 500. Spent $1.3 million on that baby. $1.3 million. 160 all the way down here. Yeah, this was deep in the money. Nancy Pelosi style. Right, we're hanging out right here. Yeah, 2 days back, right there. We're hanging out like right in here. Now here we are. That's a pretty good little pop. Maybe able to pop up here. Anyway, it's a different game playing deep in the money like that. What contract I buy? I bought that one, the 160 call. Out to the end of the month, basically. All right. CLS hanging out right here. If we can bounce above, upside. SPY, same situation. Came up just a little shy of the 618. Just clean it up. Got that low, got that high. Came up just shy of the 618. We may push this just a little lower, but it's possible. This is all done. Possible. Looks like the market giving it up just a little bit here, turning red. Potential upside would be all the way up here in the 662 area. Potential right around in here. I think we might go. Right up in there. It's potential. Not saying it's going to, just potential. Yeah. All right. VST. Potential to bounce. SMH. Ugh. Be careful. This might be indicating that we need a lower low on. Might need to dip that just on down. NVIDIA might give it up. This moves with NVIDIA more than anything else. Semiconductor ETF. The VU is like the SPY. Same basic setup here. Got the low, we've got the high, we've got the 618 we missed. And we've got that upside potential. Up here around 608. Team. Almost, this is muddy. Let's see. Move up, retrace, move up, retrace, overlapped. This is why I said muddy. This overlapped right here. So move up, retrace, move up. And this retrace overlaps that. Ugh. So now we've got this bigger pullback where we stopped in this area, and this one might break down. This is a 3-wave up into that resistance right there. We might be looking at a further decline on team down into the 76 area. Not everything has to go up if the market goes up. It's one of those, like I said, you got a target rich environment, you got to pick your best of the best. Eaton potential correction done. We break back about 336, could go up to 400. IBKR potential bounce here. Made it down to the roadmap line. So that high, that low. Break back about 206, 249 on the upside. CRM. This looks ripe for deeper correction. I would be very, very cautious here. This looks like we potentially played out that move and we need a deeper retrace. I need to pull that high up to that. And that puts us right in the zone there. Be careful. This potentially was 5 up and a retrace right back down here before we can go higher again. Coin, looking for this to hold. If we get below this 173 level, this is not going to be good for going higher, right, in the short term. Got to hold that 173. Resistance up here at 240. All right, Monday, chopping around. Not great opportunity so far. Crux, already talked about PLTR. Crux, resistance at the 113 area. This looks like we're in a correction. I'm not sure we can break out right now. Potentially that was it, but not doing a bullish thing yet. MDB probably got more downside to go. As long as we're below the roadmap line, probably heading down to 100 area. VRT, potentially that was it. Potential. We have a giant resistance at that gap. 172, if we can beat it. That'd be like almost 100 points up from where we are. SPXL, that got absolute wrecked on the downside. Potential up to 197 or 206 on the upside. CDNS, man, that looks pretty bad. Not entirely sure if this is done or not. Potential for this to still grind on down to 218, 220 area. Video we already hit. RBRK, rubric. Not a lot of history. Potential for this to turn and head back higher to 84. SOXX just grinding down. We did make a lower low here. Potential for this one to turn and burn back higher. Didn't hit ideal targets, so there's still downside potential to 172, but that could go on up to 280. NVIDIA, leverage NVIDIA, still looking soft, may have downside left in it. Be careful. ARM. Potential for this to bounce here. At least an intermediate bounce. Come back up, retest the roadmap line before we push on down. Be careful. Could have downside support down here. Upside resistance right up here at 137. Not entirely clear. It's been a lot of sideways for a little over a year now. IWF. It's Russell 1000. And that's a deep retrace right there. It looks a lot like the S&P 500 chart. Came just shy of the 618. But that can lead to a bigger bounce. Snow. Looking for this to break back above the roadmap line and do some bullish stuff. Break out and go higher. Opportunity to add your position. Potential for further downside decline, though, to the 135 area. Oracle. First move down, the retrace potential bottomed out on Oracle. Looking for that to turn and break back higher. Get above that and go up to 207. Amazon where you hit. Net potential. Ooh, nice. Potential for this one to cruise on higher. Yeah, retracing. Yeah, this bigger upside targets. I took that off, but yeah, this is a really nice setup for this to expand on up here. Like that. Really nice. What is that level? For those having trouble reading it, right around 280, possibly up to 350, 360. DPST. Oh, right down to the target. That was a proportional retrace. Potential to hold here and turn back higher. Upside target at this point would be 196 if we turn it. Now, we usually see money flow into financials, but regionals don't necessarily see that money flowing in. So be careful. A-Lab. Potential for this to be a bottom. Resistance at that gap down. Be careful. XLK. I would like this bounce to stick, but I'm not sure. I don't know. Looking at stuff like this, just not sure. This may need further downside here. Capital One. If banks can really start getting above the roadmap line, this may indicate we can get some bigger upside. Usually we don't get big bounces in the market without the financials participating. So Capital One, JPM, further down the list there. We need to see that turn around. Bank of America, we need to see that one turn around. We need to see Wells Fargo turn around. All those, we need to see all those players playing. And I'm going to start skipping on down. We're getting a little long in the tooth here with today's show. Build as first source, looking pretty bad still. And Gorilla Technology, still looking like we can ramp back up to the, I don't know, whatever that was, the SPAC area. Do a reverse split. Yeah. Be careful. I did a reverse split, continued on down to the abyss. That puts it on my danger list. ANET. Potential to turn around here, but we've got resistance all the way up at 100. And we have the potential to dip on down to this next support zone down here. Comes from that consolidation that's off the screen over there. So I'm not sure that one's done yet. Upstarts. Potential for this to hold the bottom here. And that's a good spot to hold it and turn back higher. That high, that low. Resistance is 73 to go on up to 110 area. Shopify. Hit the roadmap line. This is beautiful. Opportunity here. Stop out if we go lower than 90. You could buy now aggressively. Looking for that 140 area up there. How long would that take? Possibly out to April, May, June, July. I don't know. Something like that. Nice opportunity on Shopify. That one tends to rip, and make some big gaps and stuff like that. I've made a ton of money on Shopify in the past. Have no exposure to it right now. FAS, that retraced, lower low. Move this over, that high, this low. If we hold in here, turn back higher, break back above the 166, could take it up to 200 area. QLT. That's Ultra QQQ, just like TQQQ. Both those got wrecked pretty hard. Beat down really bad. AXP came back down. Well into the roadmap line. Exceeded it even. We can get the bounce there. Back above the 300 area. Looking for 337 on the upside. Let's see. More stuff. AMD. I'm hunting an entry here. Hunting the opportunity. This would be a long-term play. Talking about years down the road, probably, for this to come on up to a 500. I don't think it's going to be quick. I think this is probably going to take 2, 3, 4, 5 years, maybe. But that is a 5x your money opportunity right there on shares. TEM. Could be one of those where you buy 100 shares and sell some upside calls against it and ride the baby up. TEM just kind of hovering sideways. CRDO. Potential for this to be done on the correction here. Resistance at 64 to go on up to 97. Hood hit the roadmap line. Watching for this to turn, break back above the 52 area to get the extensions up to 72, 78, all-time highs up there on Hood. And UKTA. It's funny, you got UKTA and UKLO. UKLO looked pretty bad. UKTA looks like it's about to break out and go on up to the target around 125, 130. Groupon, this has been pretty bad. And still doesn't look very good. It's got resistance up to 20. If we get above that 20, we could go on up maybe to 40. Not bad. C limited. Watch for a big retrace. We hit the 618. That may kick off a retrace on C limited. Airbnb still looking kind of nasty here. Probably going to go sideways. Datadog. Potential to have bottomed out. Might have a little support on down to 90 there. Decliners, let's hit a few of these. Lily came back to the roadmap line. If we can turn there, probably setting that up for that move to 1020 area. And leverage. NVO. Oh, set up the move. I still expect this to come on down to that 50 area, 50 to 60. Let's see. PepsiCo. Certainly doesn't look like Coca-Cola. This one's suffering down here while KO has been hitting and performing on their stock. This may get an extension out, but it may be played out. So be careful here. I've got an upside target up here around 85 on Coke. iRobots. Oof. Ouch. That's why you got to watch out. When they come up to the roadmap line, they can do that. And that looks like it's going out of business. Oof. Need a big turnaround story on iRobot, and they may be out of business. Whew. That's a sad story from 200 down to 3. Ouch. Can they drop out of the... I mean, even when you got a banger product, competition. Eating your lunch right there. Need a new robot that makes money. All right. No bonus trade. There was nothing on the scanner last night. The market looking pretty crap. ES looks like we're giving it all back. Unfortunately, bias for the day. I'd watch out. All right. This is, as I said, the 30-minute roadmap line is the one to watch. If we break above it, we're going higher. If we can't, that 3-wave may mean we're coming on down here to the 618. So downside, I would watch this level right around the 5,500 level. On ES, what is that on SPX? Let's flip the guns here. That would be right at the 5,500 level. So looking for that 5,500 level to hold. That's 100 points down. Caution, we may see a dip, or we can see a pop like that. Not getting the continuation I was hoping for. That's a big caution. For those of you that are coming to the in-person event, I'll see you this evening at the dinner. If you don't make it to the dinner, I'll see you in the morning at the hotel. Have a great day, everybody. See you later. Bye for now.